for starters, Brad, did you have any reaction to the NCHC suspending mismatch for a game?
Yeah, I just found out about it today. Obviously, we knew there after every 5-minute major, there goes through a review process, and I got a call today and said that he's suspended for the extra game, and our league does an outstanding job as far as officiating and the review process. They deemed it a 1-game suspension, and I guess I would say we here have a difference of opinion, and but at the end of the day, the league makes the call, and we deal with it and move forward. So it is what it is, and we move forward.
How does that change your lineup? You just put that line back together, and you had a really good game together. How do you adjust now that you won't have that line together?
Yeah, well, we'll go through. We got 3 days of practice here before we, play games against Colorado College here at home, and we'll go through a process here of maybe putting 1 or 2 guys on lines here this week and see how it looks. And obviously it changes the power play unit, with our group here, and we'll go through that too. So we have very good players that are in different roles, and it's just a matter of seemingly putting a right fit together for that piece on that line.
What's it going to be like being back at home for the first time in almost a full year?
Yeah, it's first of all, we're grateful to be back here. We haven't played in here in a long time. We played our first 14 games, 10 in the pod, and then 4 in the state of Colorado here over the last couple of weeks, and now finally to be home. It's going to be 7 of our last 10 are at home, but, in saying that, you can't rest on that. You have to make sure that you're prepared and playing the right way against very good NCHC competition. But our guys are excited about finally playing at home, especially our young guys that have never played here before. And I think we're obviously have limited fans as far as coming into the building, but at least there'll be some excitement there and knowing that we're back at home.
Is it going to be weird having fans?
Yeah, you know what? That's going to be Yeah, you're right. It's going to be a little bit different, and what that looks like, with limited amount of fans. I know they'll be spread out, but it gives you a little bit more game-like atmosphere. I think, when you go into some of the venues and there's nobody in and there's piped-in music and different things like that, that's one thing. But now you have the kind of the loud crowd experience. I think that helps. I think it helps both teams, but I think it helps to have that, when you're playing competition, to have that generated feeling of fans.
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to ask about the split with Denver and particularly about Mark's play on Monday night. He came out big with you with 4 assists. It seemed to me you might have been a little flat in the first game, 4-1 loss, but you rebounded really well. And Adam, especially after having kind of a rough night that first night, he also rebounded very well for you.
Yeah, I think, you hit it on the head. I think we were a little bit flat on that first night. And, what we alluded to, too, I think you can prepare all you want, coming off of a 6-game winning streak going into Denver. There was some urgency in their game. You could tell. Like, they came out hard and they were sharp execution-wise. And, if you don't have everybody, playing their best game or close to their best game, then you don't really have a chance to win in the NCHC. You probably can get away with it in non-conference series at the beginning of the year. But you have to have everybody going, and we brought that up the next day in our meetings before we played that second game. That everybody's got to be accountable to each other and bring your A game, and I thought our guys did. And if you probably look at it the other way, I thought we did that the second night, and I don't think Denver did. I don't think they brought their A game, and it was probably a 180 for both teams each and every night. So that's what the NCHC is, and again, that's how close it is.
Can you talk about Mark's play and that big night he had?
Yeah.
Play on Monday night?
Yeah, and that goes to leadership too, right? Like, he's one of our assistant captains. He was a captain in junior that won a championship in Fargo. He won a championship in Wayzata in high school as a captain. And, that's what leaders do is they help try to steer the team in the right direction and through their play on the ice and through their verbal communication in the locker room. And he did. He had an opportunity to start the game, him and Gavin Heyman and Louis Jamernick, and they didn't waste any time on trying to put us back to where we needed to go momentum-wise, and then it carried over to the next couple of shifts and scoring the second goal. So, yeah, he's a big part of our team. He has done it for the last couple of years here, and those are guys that sometimes don't get all the accolades. When you talk about players of the week or guys that analytically score all the points, he's a guy just that keeps showing up every day, that pushes the bar in your group, and that's what you have to have in order to have success, is players like that in your group.
How about, Adam Scheel? He had a rough outing that first game, and he seemed to really come back and play strong for you on Monday night, only limiting Denver to 1 goal.
Yeah, well, like I said, Adam Scheel's body of work this year has been outstanding. He came in here with a mindset. Last year he had a very good start of the season, and then the second half, it wasn't his expectations or ours. And Peter Thomey came in and did a really good job in the second half. And, I think he goes back to doesn't want to let that happen again. And that goes back to the mental maturity of his game, on his preparation and his habits. And to say that first game he didn't play very well, I don't know if I'd agree with that. I would say, there was probably 1 goal, maybe 2 that he wanted to have back, but he still was strong in net, and it's a situation where the focus is usually on the goaltender all the time when you lose. So I think he played an okay game, but obviously on the second night he played a superb game, and again, like I said, he's this guy that cares, and we'll need him down the stretch here to play those games like he did the last game against Denver.
You got CC coming into town this weekend. They played 2 tough games against you a couple weeks ago in the Springs. What are you expecting out of the series, and what do you think you need to do to have success against them?
Well, I just think that having that mindset that we played against Denver collectively as a team right away, and Mike Havlin's done a really good job there. He's built that team up. They've played hard against any competition, whether it's in the pod or outside of the pod. They've been having really good games against teams that are of high caliber, and their team is being one of them. So again, like, they're coming into our building here, and it's a situation we got to have a mindset too. And remember when we went into their building a couple of weeks ago, how tough it was as far as the 5-on-5 play, and even specialty teams on trying to create time and space. So we realize that, and we know that. Again, we talk about the NCHC. It doesn't matter who you're playing. We saw games in the pod that teams beat other teams that you wouldn't think would, and it's a situation. It's a second half now where structure is detailed, and it's really focused on playing tight hockey, and we got to make sure that we are part of that.
Hey, Coach, how do you carry that bounce-back ability that you had at the end of the Denver series into this next one?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And, it's a one-day quicker turnaround time as far as preparation here. So, rest is going to be a big thing. We got back home pretty late on after the second game there, trying to keep my days straight here. So that would be early on Tuesday morning. So, again, getting your rest and recovery here to drop the puck on Saturday night. So, obviously, that's going to be a big thing on making sure that our tanks are full here to get going. And then after that, it's having good execution and pace and practice here of trying to get to the things you need to do, be sharp. And then when you get to game day, it's got to be the mental side, the focus side of it, as far as, going back to those games in Denver where we weren't as sharp on the first night, but we were sharp on the second night. So a little bit of everything that goes into this preparation, but I think it's mostly of carrying momentum on how we have to play and our identity as a team.
To go this long without a home series, does it feel like you can at least have some type of sense of normalcy, at least getting back to the Ralph? And I don't know what the longest streak you guys have gone without playing a home game, but do you remember what that would be?
No, I couldn't remember. Obviously, this has to be the longest. But, you know what? A sense of normalcy is right. I think you got to use the positives of this going into it. We haven't played at home yet this season, but the good thing is we've had reasonable success so far on the road, which is always tough to do, whether it's a pod or taking 3 out of 4 in the state of Colorado. It brings your team together. When you go on the road and you're together all the time, it binds your team it meshes your team and melds your team together. But then you add the success part of it, then it reinforces it a little bit more. And knowing that we're coming home, and one of the things is that I know from coaching and playing in the NHL, sometimes when you're gone a long time, that when you go home, it seems like sometimes you let off the gas a little bit. We can't do that. Knowing that, okay, we play at home, we got our home building, we got some fans, that's good. Yeah, it's great, but we got to do our thing as far as having that road mentality coming home here.
Brad, is there any chance Gabe Bast or Ethan Frisch are available for this weekend?
Yeah, you know what? I think there's a good chance one or both will be available. And again, obviously, Mark Pullman does an outstanding job here. You know, we're going about our day here. Like we gave the guys a maintenance day yesterday. They were on their own a little bit as far as getting in late, 4 in the morning the night before. They had a maintenance day and getting to the academics and then just trying to get their bodies in order. And then today is going to be our first full practice. This afternoon, we usually practice in the mornings, but now just giving them a little more rest time today. We're practicing at 2:45 this afternoon, so we'll find out kind of where we're at after practice today with those guys, participating.